Hello and welcome to my promineotech week 14 recording. Here we'll be listing off more updates to the API portion of this assignment. For example, right here we can see that the create that we have in the application.yaml was changed to update in order to prevent erasing an existing table. Pet application, nothing changed here. We have the pet store data as well, which is basically just a copy of the pet store class. And there's also it also contains the pet store employee and customers, or at least their own versions of it inside of this parent class. And there's also uh, the customers and the employees lists. However, the customer and employees classes don't have a reference to their parent class, as this would create a recursion and cause problems. In the DAO, we simply extend JPA repository with the values pet store and long. We have the pet store controller, which has an object of pet store service. And basically here's where we have the methods that actually have the post mapping and put mapping, which are the creating the pet store data and updating it or altering what already exists. Here is the pet store service, which is called from the pet store controller. And here's where we have the save pet store to make sure everything's updated. And what ends up happening here is that we have different support methods for the save where it will find or create a pet store, and it'll find it by the ID, which is this method down here, which will throw an exception if it can't find it. And right here, we just copy the fields of the pet store data onto the pet store object, and then we'll simply go ahead and just save the result from that and return that back onto the pet store controller. We also have the global error handler, which helps us provide the correct error when receiving it from the API instead of just returning error 500, which is the general type error. I think, for example, in Java, how we have a general error or general error exceptions. And there's also like sub exceptions, like, for example, input not found or something like that. So running this application, I'm going to go ahead and look at the API. So right here, I've already got a couple things set up. I'm going to go back, make sure it's running well. Okay. So we'll go ahead and just run this on the post. And we see that it did in fact create. We have a pet store ID too, because I did create a pet store ID previously for the sake of testing. And we have all the parameters that we want right here. So now that we have that, we're actually going to go ahead and put, which put is the update, pet store 2. And we're going to go ahead and change this to comp street guard. And New York is in California, so we're going to go ahead and change this to Los Angeles. I'm going to keep the rest the same. And we see that it created it successfully. Before we had the 201 or the 201, which was create. 200 means it was updated successfully. And testing the error, we see the string, and it has the correct error output. So this demonstrates that everything's running just fine, and therefore we're going to conclude this recording here. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day.